Hello to all my lovely YouTube subscribers, friends, and family. Today is a beautiful day. It's my 4-year anniversary of living a mucus-free lifestyle, and that mucus-free lifestyle has been lived mostly on fruits, berries, and melons. At least 95% of my daily intake of nutrients comes from fruits, berries, and melons. Now, when I started out 4 years ago, did I think I would be here? You're damn right I did, because I'm a wrestler by trade, and wrestlers are very dedicated. When you have to cut weight for a living, you can do anything. So when I started this journey 4 years ago today, I said to myself, I can do this because all I need to do is wake up in the morning and win the day every day. And I have a lot of discipline and dedication. Now, the way I got started on this journey was not like, it wasn't something I thought I was going to do. It sort of came to me in a flash. And that was when my original acupuncturist 7 years ago, when I was 46, I'm 53 now, and she said to me, right in the first session, she said to me, guys like you have a heart attack in your 60s and die. And I was shocked. I didn't know what that meant, and I didn't know why she would say that to me because I look like this. And I thought, how could that be the case? What are you saying to me? I didn't really know much about acupuncture. So she went on to describe it to me. And she said, your kidneys are not eliminating. From the needles, she could tell that my kidneys were in bad shape. She said my lymph was stagnant, it wasn't draining, and that my liver was also toxified. And those are the two major organs that you need for longevity and health. And she asked me, do you sleep well at night? I said, no, I've been an insomniac for 20 years. I said, I don't get tired. At night, when I'm ready to go to bed, I'm not tired. I just force myself to go to sleep. And she said, Brian, that's a sign. She's like, you're burning up. Look at your tongue. It's all raised. It's discolored. I didn't know anything about this. So I was like, okay, I listened to her. And I was going. But at that time, I didn't have the funds to go every single week. And acupuncture is something that you need to do every single week in order to consistently get better. So I said to her, about 1.5 years into the journey, and I wasn't really getting any better. And I told her that in the cold weather, my hands get numb because I had just started practicing the Wim Hof technique and I was hyperventilating. So it was 6 years ago, this winter, and it was our coldest January on record in New York City. And when I started hyperventilating, I became superhuman to the cold, but if I went outside, it felt like my hands and my feet were getting frostbite. And that's because I was hyperventilating. So instead of the blood going to my extremities, my body was protecting itself and sending the blood to the viscera. But if your organs are in bad shape, you should not be doing something like that. That's a short part of the story. Now I'm going to get back into. So I asked her if I could heal from this. And she said, well, you're older, your blood is drying out. The older you get, the more your blood dries out. And I thought to myself, I've already healed from 2 badly herniated discs. I already healed from a 90% partially torn left biceps tendon that's completely and totally grown back. Because you can do this, you can regrow your soft tissue. If a starfish can regrow its leg, if you could take out half a person's liver and the liver grows back, then that means everything on your body grows back. There's not one organ that can do something more than another. So I left her and I found another acupuncturist through my chiropractor who's a beautiful Chinese man, and he's 11 years older than me. He's the same year as me, which is Year of the Rooster. And he was a gastroenterologist for 20 years. And now he's fully doing acupuncture, which he grew up learning and understanding in China. So he said to me, when I did my assessment, he asked me why I left her, and I told him, and he said, well, I agree with her assessment. And I was like, 2 years into this and nothing in my body has changed? My organs are still dysfunctional? I still had insomnia. I still had irritable bowel syndrome. I was overheating all the time. I would wake up in night sweats. I would overheat in the sun. I love the sun, but I was always hot, sweating like crazy. And in the cold, I would get really frigid, and I'm like, I can't even be out in the cold. So, backstep just a little bit, I had been on my breathing journey for about 1 year and 3 months. And while I was learning to command my breathing, I was regulating my blood chemistry. So for 1 year and 3 months, I was practicing restorative breath exercises. I wasn't doing breath work. I was doing very specific exercises for my breath mechanics, not taking a breathing technique and just trying to do it. I was doing specific ones based on what I was presenting in my own breathing mechanics. And 1.5 years into it, I started to feel physiological changes. Because remember, my chemistry was really out of balance. When your organs are failing, that means that you're not getting rid of acids in your body. Acids collect when the kidneys are not eliminating. So the acids back up from the kidneys, and they start to back up into what's called the interstitial space. Now that became an organ in 2017. It's called the interstitium, which is also the lymphatic system, the fascial system, and we can call it the extracellular matrix. So if you have a cell, this cell is inside your body, and you have intracellular space. However, when that cell doesn't have any more oxygen, and it's not going to have any more water, then the cell can't get rid of its byproducts. So now the waste collects in the cell, and the cell starts to deteriorate because of acids. So your body becomes inflamed, and now the space around the cell, which is inside your body, is called the extracellular space. So now the acids are collecting the extracellular space, and now you can't get nutrients into that cell. You can't bring oxygen into the cell. You can't bring water into the cell because the cell is obstructed from acids. There's only one disease on the planet, and it's called acidosis. And the reason, there's a very direct reason we get acidosis, and it starts with oxidation. We're not utilizing efficiently the oxygen that we're breathing into our body. And when that happens, your carbon dioxide levels drop, you become too alkaline, or you can revert to breathing very little, and then your body becomes overly acidic. So through your breath, the chemistry of your body is controlled, and it's either going to be too alkaline or too acid if your breathing mechanics are off. So once I started to retrain my breathing mechanics, I feel like as I regulated my blood pH, my frequency started to raise. My vibration started to raise because I was doing something very good for my body. And you got to understand that at the cellular level, when you make physiological changes at the gaseous level, you make structural changes in your brain because you're getting oxygen to your brain. And then I started to gravitate and I started to look for a higher vibrational diet. Now, I had been vegan for 6 years, but I was a cooked vegan, which isn't vegan at all. If you're eating plant food and you're cooking it, then you're a plant-based eater. Vegan is nothing but raw food. You don't cook food. Humans adapted to eat cooked food, but it's not good for you. Not even a little bit of it is good for you. You can eat it, but it will deteriorate you over time if you're predominantly eating cooked food. So, I started on this fruit journey, this mucusless diet journey. And The desire came from not wanting to die, not wanting to have a heart attack in my 60s and die. And then I started to research and dive and learn about the kidneys and learn about the liver. Even though I've been in health my whole life, my version of health was the outside. What can I do physically to make myself look good? If I look good, I must be healthy, and that couldn't be farther from the truth, as I found out. So I told my newer acupuncturist, Dr. Ming, I said, I'm going to go on this fruitarian lifestyle. And he said, no, I don't think you should do that. And I was like, why? He goes, because you need protein. I said, Dr. Ming, I haven't eaten protein in 5 years. Look at me. I got plenty of muscle. I haven't eaten any protein. What I do is I take marine phytoplankton. So marine phytoplankton are the building blocks of life. It's the first organism on the planet to live. And it was created by light, sound, vibration, and of course God. So when this organism created itself through cymatics, through the vibration of the earth, things come together and it formed this unicellular organism. Well, this organism had all the building blocks of life within it. Every single amino acid, obviously the essentials. If you're putting all the amino acids in your body, all of them, on a daily basis, then your body is making the perfect protein without putting protein in your body. There's no second creation in nature. You can't ingest protein to make protein. That's a fallacy and a lie, and it's not true. And I come from that other background. For 42 years, I was a carnivore. I was really big. And the bigness that I had wasn't because the protein I was eating was making big muscle. It was that I was putting so many calories in my body in the form of acids, because proteins are acids, and then your body doesn't deal with acids very well. In fact, there's only two fluids in your body. Blood, which is 20% of the fluid in your body, and it's what Western medicine places all its attention on, is blood, because they can check blood markers and then they can prescribe a thing for it, which is never going to be good for you. However, what's the rest of the 80% of the fluid in your body? Well, that's your lymph. And your lymph is designed, because it's alkaline, just like the blood. The two fluids in your body are alkaline. And the reason they're alkaline is to deal with acids that are coming in through your mouth, through your nose, and through your thoughts if you're in a stressed life environment. Now, my kidneys weren't eliminating. My lymph was stagnant. So how am I going to get those acids out of my body to remove the obstructions so my cells can thrive? I got to get rid of the acids first. So I read Professor Arnold Ehret's book, The Mucusless Diet Healing System. And I will tell you right now that that is the Bible for health. And I'm now going to be creating programs for my students, because I've been helping a lot of people, and I'm going to teach people how to transition from a possible carnivore lifestyle, or maybe just cooked vegan, into a raw food lifestyle. Now, does that mean I have never eaten cooked food in 4 years? No, I have, but it's rare. Maybe once every 2 or 3 months, and it's because I might have no choice if I've gone out somewhere and there's nothing on the menu I could eat. If there's no salads, then okay, I'll have a cooked vegetable, because at this point, I've been able to reverse all of my damage, which I haven't gotten to yet. So, with these two fluids in the body, the blood does not deal with acids very well. If your blood is acidic, you're dead in 3 minutes. So to say that the venous blood drains and the acids get eliminated through your lungs is true, and most of the weight you lose comes out as a gas. However, there are acids in the lymphatic system that don't get into the blood, and that's why you have a lymphatic system. It's actually a septic system. It's literally flushing the toilet bowl. And it takes 4 days for the acids as they come in your body, if you're working well, to be removed and eliminated by the kidneys through the fecal matter. So the first thing I needed to do was get my lymph draining and then get my kidneys eliminating. So I said, I'm going to go on this fruit journey. And he said, no, you need more protein. I said, well, I take marine phytoplankton. It's the building blocks of life. It has all the essential amino acids, all amino acids. It has all of the essential fats, so I don't need to put any fat in my body. It has all of the vitamins, chlorophyll. It's got all the B vitamins, tons of chlorophyll, and it's got almost all the minerals. So now I'm eating this food that's feeding my hypothalamus gland, which is the conductor of God's symphony. And when your hypothalamus gland is fed the perfect macronutrients, then synergistically your body will work well. But the reason it'll work well is because your kidneys are eliminating, your lymph is draining, so the acids that come into your body are eliminated, and then you're actually living off of the sun, biophotons. So when I ingest the fruit is, number one, it's astringent. Astringent means it pulls stuff out of the tissues. So you have to think of your inside of your body. You know, you have bone in the middle, right? But your bone is not rock hard. It can actually flex. When you're alive, it can bend and it can flex. It might not feel that way, but it's got pliability to it. And as you're getting rid of the acids in your body, you pull the acids through this gel-like substance. So you got to think of your body as being kind of jello. Inside your body, you're jello. It's not like soup. It's much more viscous. It's like jello. And that takes 4 days for the acids to pull all of that waste out of your body. So I started going on this fruit journey, and my transition was I was going to eat fruit all day long, and then at night I got really hungry because the fruit is astringent. So it was making me feel like I hadn't eaten, and I was eating fruit, mono fruit. I wasn't mixing fruits. You'll have to learn more about all of that, you'll have to join my website and become a member so you can get these protocols. So I was eating a mono fruit every hour. I was hungry every hour, and I was eating every hour. But then at night I would get ravenous because the fruit is so astringent that when it pulls on the lymph, your nerves that sit inside the lymph, so you have a nerve, you have a vein and an artery next to the nerve, and you have a lymph vessel. So 3 vessels all together, and then they're bundled in fascia. And when the fascia has too much acids on it, it collects. The acids actually create a weighting effect, and it compresses all of these vessels. So when you're not eliminating, you can't get rid of the waste, and the waste collects. It gets thicker, and it creates compression, and now the nerves aren't working well. So when you're on fruit, and you're pulling all of that out, and the nerves are waking up, people go, oh, I don't feel good. This diet's not working for me, because as soon as I ate a piece of meat, I felt great. Well, any food other than fruit and leafy green vegetables is going to stimulate you because it's not endogenous to your body. It means it's not supposed to be in your body because humans are actually frugivorian in nature. Don't talk to me about meat. Don't tell me that we adapted to eat meat. Don't tell me that we evolved to eat meat, because that's kind of ignorant. Because if I dropped you in a forest and you were completely naked, now don't talk about me now, who might have a brain that I can figure out some way, if I was dropped in a forest being naked, how I can set a trap and then maybe kill an animal. We're talking about 1 million years ago, when we didn't have industrialization. And if I was naked in a forest, I'd either be food or I would have to go and forage to find food, because God gave me nothing as a tool on my body to hunt or to kill. My brain did not adapt and evolve and get bigger by eating meat. That, again, is a lie that's been told to us. It's propaganda, because you already had the bigger brain from the fruit. Fruit is the perfect neurochemistry of the brain. It feeds the brain. And I'm gonna prove it. When you were born, the first 1 to 3 days, your mother's milk was colostrum. And in the colostrum, she gave you high amounts of human growth hormone and protein. Because as soon as you were born, that's what you needed for building. But after the 3rd day, and sometimes shorter, your mother's colostrum switches to breast milk. And all you have to do is look on PubMed. The constituents of mother's milk is 2.5% protein. So now you're feeding on your mom's milk and you're only getting 2.5% protein. So do not tell me that protein is what's necessary to build the body, because that is ignorant. Mother's milk is 4% fat. I don't need a lot of fat to survive. In fact, I need very little, and that's 4%. 9% of the milk is carbohydrate, and the rest is water. So you're reared on sugar water. And then after you stop feeding on your mom's breast, you're never supposed to drink milk again. Now, I know there's a big movement with raw milk. I'm not going to go there. After you stop feeding on mother's milk, you should never have milk again. It's just common sense. Just because there's good things in it doesn't mean it's good for you past gestation. Otherwise, you'd be still drinking your mom's milk. But it doesn't happen like that. So, here we go. I'm at the acupuncturist. It's my 4th week on the mucus-free lifestyle. He's listening to my 3 pulses, my liver, my kidneys, and my heart. And he says, wow, you're changing rapidly. This diet's working for you. You should stay on it, and I'm learning from you. And I was like, thank you, Dr. Ming. My previous acupuncturist wasn't like that. But this man respected my journey. And this is my hero's journey. So I kept on it. And 9 months passed. So that was 10 months on the diet. 10 months into the mucus-free diet, he's listening to my pulse, and he stopped. He said, Brian, I have to tell you how impressive what you have done is. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, when you came to me, your kidneys, if I had to rate them, they were in sub-basement level 8. That's how badly dysfunction they were. I couldn't even feel your kidney pulse. They were literally dying. They were degrading. And I also have a chiropractor who's a network chiropractor, Reiki master, healthy brain living. And he said, yeah, I wasn't going to tell you that, but you were definitely not headed for a very good older life. You would have been on medication. You would have had both your hips replaced. Your spine, you gave yourself scoliosis from wrestling and powerlifting. And I was falling apart. I was riddled with joint pain. My organs were failing. I wasn't sleeping. And if you're not sleeping, you're not doing well. My breathing was terrible. I was as bad a breather as you can be. So 10 months into the mucus-free lifestyle, he said to me, not only have you reversed all of your kidney damage, but you're now strengthening your kidney chi energy, which is your primordial energy. He goes, and you're getting younger. He said, I've never seen anything like it. It's absolutely remarkable, and you should stay on this diet because it's really working for you. That was 3 years and 2 months ago. Here we are, 3 years and 2 months later. I'm 4 years into the mucus-free lifestyle. My organs are almost completely and totally fine. He said, if you started down here, your kidneys and your liver, if you were down here, He's like, now you're all the way up here. He's like, you will never have any kind of organ problems in your life. And yes, Chinese medicine can tell you these things. He said, you will live a very long and prosperous life, and your organs will never fail. And what your body's telling me right now is that when you're ready to transition, you will. It won't be because you have organ failure. Well, I'm never going to get off this diet. You know why? Because fruit isn't necessarily the sugar. There's no such thing as sugar being bad for you when it comes to fructose. Fruit is filled with biophotons. It's electromagnetic energy, and we are electromagnetic beings. We're not physical beings that need nutrition from food. That's a lie. We actually have the ability to be breatharian. Now, I might lose a lot of you right now. What do you mean I don't need to eat? Oh, you need to eat. I need to eat. If I stopped eating, I would die because I've been eating since I was born. I haven't been a breatharian. It would be very hard to do. But there are people in the world transitioning to breatharianism. Go on the YouTube channel and follow Breatharian World. Now, I digress. Fruit is not to be worried about. If you eat fruit alone, meaning mono, fruit goes in the body alkaline. It doesn't create alkalinity of the body, only the breath does that. But what it does is, because it doesn't create an overly acidic environment in the gut, then the gut can stay at a lower pH, which is what it's supposed to do, because it needs to deal with breaking down the substances that come into our body. So the truth about fruit sugar is that it's handled differently by the body than processed sugar is. It's simple sugar, which the brain and the body run on. And it's an optimal form of energy because it comes in the form of light. It brings alkalinity and vitality to our cells, and it removes acidosis and strengthens cells. And it doesn't need to be limited. You could eat as much of it as you want, and I'm living proof because I've been doing that for 4 years now. And now that I'm 4 years in, I almost never want anything other than fruit. And when I eat, I'm no longer ravenously hungry because I've removed the acids from my body. My kidneys are eliminating, and fruit is actually soluble fiber. So when you eat it, it's filled with water, and that water is HCO3, or is it H3O? Oh my goodness, I forgot what structured water is. It's HCO3. So structured water is what the body really needs. It's not drinking water, it's from fruit. Because a million years ago, when we were in the tropical forests of Pangaea, the fruit was everywhere. And the hominid would walk by a tree and see these beautiful colored fruits, probably none of the fruits we have today. I'm sure they're all hybrids. They would see this beautiful fruit hanging off the vine. The hominid would pick it, bite into it, have this delicious succulent food coming in, and then it would eat the seeds, and then it would move around the forest and it would poop. And then the seeds would be on the ground, and then the tree could proliferate itself. So the fruit is actually the sex organ of the plant, because it's literally like birth. It's got seeds in it, it's got structured water in it, and it's got light, biophotons in it. And those biophotons, the more biophotons you have in your body, the more angstroms you have. Angstroms is how we measure the energy in a food. And every other food besides fruit and leafy green vegetables, the energy starts to go down. And because I'm an electromagnetic being, I'm going to eat a food, because I'm not a breatharian, so I do need to ingest food. I'm going to eat a food that's a higher vibrational food that gives me life. It's actually life. And anything other than that, besides fruit and vegetables, is not real life, because it creates mucus. So let's talk about that. Why is it a mucus-free lifestyle? Because fruit doesn't require any insulin to be digested. It crosses the membrane of the cell, which is the brain of the cell. It crosses it, it diffuses easily through the cell. So because there's no obstructions, no acids coming in, the cell can allow the membrane to be permeable, so the acids get out of the cell and the sugars come into the cell, and that's how we survive on a daily basis. And I have no more brain fog. I feel smarter. I'm more coherent. I'm able to think quickly on my feet, and I'm also feeling very calm throughout the day because my digestive system is no longer overloaded. Fruit is the perfect food for the body. It has all the essential amino acids, and that's all you need to make a protein. So here I am, 4 years into my fruit journey, my mucus-free lifestyle, and the reason I don't eat other foods is because they leave residue in the body. I want you to think of this. Every time you eat a meat or dairy or cooked, that food, think of this as the inside of my intestines, and here's clear nail polish, and every time I eat a food that leaves residue, I put the clear nail polish on my intestines, the linings. Now you can't see that clearness, but every time you eat, 3, 4, 5 times a day, you're leaving residue all along your gastrointestinal tract. And that residue starts to collect, and it also starts to create fissures. And then the acids that are supposed to be dealt with by the eliminative organs, they start to escape into the rest of your body. That's what we call IBS and Crohn's disease. The acids are now getting out of the GI tract, and they're wreaking havoc on the tissues inside your interstitium that don't deal well with acids. Remember, there's only one disease on the planet, and it's acidosis, which causes oxidation. So the only reason we age is because we're oxidized at the cellular level. Look at me. Do I have wrinkles? Right? You see I have no injections, right? I have no bags under my eyes. But I have pictures of me 10 years ago, and I had bags under my eyes because my liver was densified. It was toxified. I had a deviated septum. My nose was crooked. Everything was going wrong in my body. And then once I started on the mucus-free lifestyle, I started to really change rapidly. My health started to take on new levels, and that kept me very motivated. So now every day when I wake up, the food that I put in my body, now I want to eat that type of food. I don't crave breads. I don't crave anything else. When you eat a food, it has to break down in your body, and it breaks down into bacteria. So now those bacteria that correspond to that food live inside you. So you wake up the next morning and you're like, I need to have eggs. I need to have bread and eggs, starches. And it's not your free will. It's because that bacteria in your GI tract is causing you to want to eat those types of foods. I don't have those cravings anymore because I don't put those foods in my body. I've cleaned my body of that bacteria that deals with those types of foods. So I wake up in the morning and I crave things like melons. But I also practice intermittent fasting. So I make sure that I don't eat for at least 16 hours. And I allow my body, my digestive system to have a break. And then once a week, I fast for 24 hours. And it's usually the week I go to my chiropractor. I have my chiropractor appointment at 3:30 on a Wednesday. So I stop eating Tuesday night at 7. And then I don't eat till I come home at 5 o'clock on Wednesday. And every week, I give my body 24 hours. Because my ancestors a million years ago, they weren't thinking about fasting. They were living in appropriation of what was available to them. So if they came up on an orchard, they would see an orchard. Maybe it was just oranges, although a million years ago there probably weren't oranges. Whatever the fruit was, it was in an orchard, and there weren't fruit trees of all different kinds growing next to one another, because that's not how life works. They would be very separate from one another. So the hominid would eat that one food, probably gorge itself because it knew it would be foraging, and it would go for walks, so it would eat as much as it could, and then it would go for a walk, and it might not come up on another orchard for miles or days. And then the hominid was actually fasting, but they weren't saying to themselves, I need to fast. They weren't using a stressor. They were doing it because that's what their lifestyle was, so they got used to it. So they were living in ketosis while fasting, but that's an emergency food source. It's not how we're supposed to live. We're supposed to live on simple sugars, which are fructose from fruits, because man is frugivorian in nature. Nothing on your body lends credence that you are a carnivore. You don't have a short GI tract. You don't have fangs. You don't have claws. You've adapted to eat that kind of stuff. You're also not an herbivore. Your body's not designed to eat vegetables, because the herbivores have multiple stomachs and a GI tract that's 3 times longer, because they need to break down the cellulose that's in the vegetables. And if we look at the largest land animals on the planet, they are herbivores, and they're the most muscular and strongest animals on the planet. So they don't eat protein to be big. The carnivores are not that big, and they eat protein, and they sleep all day. And the reason they sleep all day is because they have to digest proteins that are indigestible. But yes, they're suited for that. They don't live long lives because they have to deal with acids. Whereas the herbivores, they live much longer because they're eating more of an alkaline-based lifestyle. And a human being is an alkaline species, and then it's got 2 forms of fluid that deal with acids. So this video is really about education, about how I have been able to overcome disability in my organs to the point where I was feeling tremendously bad at the age of 46, thinking, is this going to be the rest of my life? I'm going to have to live with joint pain. I'm going to wind up having my hips replaced, my shoulders, my knees, my spine hurt, everything. So I've been able to reverse all of the physiological damage in my body, but I'm sure that I still have cleaning to go. Absolutely I do, and I'm going to stay on this lifestyle. And every once in a blue moon, if I want to have cooked food, I can, because my kidneys are eliminating now. My lymph is draining now. So if I do allow a cooked meal into my body can easily handle it. So when the cooked food comes in my body says, oh, that food doesn't belong there. It spikes the immune response. The white blood cells start to come out, and they start to break down that food because the food is not endogenous to the body, and it creates residue, agglomeration. But because my GI tract is clean, my kidneys are eliminating, and my lymph is draining well, that one time I eat that food, it's going to go right through me, and it's not going to cause any damage to happen because I'm only going to do it once. I never go two meals in a row. I always go back to fruit. And after I have a cooked meal, which is rare, I make sure I try to go almost 24 hours without eating so I can let it completely digest. And then I bring the watery fruits back into my body, the light back into my body. So what we're going to do is I'm relaunching my Breathing with Brian program, because remember, as I told you, it was the breathing that regulated my chemistry that allowed me to search for a higher vibrational diet. Once I restored my blood chemistry, I started to seek out a higher vibrational diet, and that diet is a mucus-free lifestyle. So the Breathing with Brian program, which has helped thousands of people all over the world, students everywhere, have had tremendous life-transforming experiences on this program. I'm going to be relaunching it on a new platform where you can access the entire program, but you can also have it for the first 7 days as a free trial. You can try out the first 7 days. I give you foundational breath exercises that can remap the biochemistry of your blood through your breath. And in those 7 days, if you decide not to keep it, you will have the basics and the building blocks of how you should be breathing for life. However, most people that do the 7 days say, wow, I want to keep going. Because after those 7 days, I will teach you everything you need to know about healthy breathing. It's an encompassing 30-day program that you get to keep for life. You also get added to a private group, a Telegram group, which is a chat. My cat Apollo wants to eat right now. It's okay, baby. I'll get your food in a second. I'm almost done. I love him. He's a beautiful little human being. I mean, cat, feline. He feels like a human being, right? So, in this program, for 30 days, in the first 7 days, you're going to receive foundational breathing techniques. And after that, I'm going to teach you everything there is to know about breathing. You're going to get added to a private Telegram chat where you can ask questions for life. You're going to be invited to a weekly live Zoom call for life. So that means every single week you can be part of this call. And all it's going to be is a membership at a much lower rate than I've ever charged before, because I'm making it available for people. So you're going to be able to come onto the website. You're going to have a membership. You're going to be part of a community that's a mucus-free lifestyle. Now, when we do the breathing, you don't have to be a raw foodist. You can eat whatever you want. I encourage people to go raw, but you don't have to. You can eat however you want. And then there'll be programs available that will help you transition to at least maybe a 50% cooked food lifestyle and 50% raw lifestyle, so you can slowly change the chemistry of your body. You don't have to, but what we will be doing is making sure that we teach you proper breathing mechanics in the 30-day Breathing with Brian program. That's it for today. Thank you for being with me. I appreciate all the love and support. Do not forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel so you can get cutting edge information, and you can follow me on my journey. And if the information resonates with you, beautiful. I'm not here to debate with other people. I'm not here to talk about, meat as opposed to fruit. I'm telling you that I've healed my life. I've healed my body, and it's been through a mucus-free lifestyle. And if that information resonates with you, subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and ask me questions. And if not, go follow who you want to follow. And that's okay too. Peace and love, everyone. Have the day and the life you deserve. God bless.